Unfortunately, the thumbnail title to this particular video is not ad hominem. The fact that Rupert Murdock and his minions have given permission for these alleged presenters to be filmed discussing such a horrific conflict is not only disastrous, but demeaning. Those in the UK will be vaguely familiar with these two Talk TV presenters, Ash Gould and in particular James Whale. Otherwise, be very prepared to be very perplexed.
I'll answer your question when you answer my question. Is the Israeli military a bunch of terrorists?
Do they cut babies out of wombs and gang rape women and cut babies' heads off? No, they don't, do they?
So let us observe, giving our thoughts along the way.
So 15,000 children have been murdered, killed in your view.
According to Hamas.
And counting.
Where did you get the figures from?
Everyone knows the figures.
No, nobody knows the figures. Where did you get them from?
So we start off with a particularly docile question, and you would not be far wrong in instantaneously deciphering the by now predictable route that this interview will follow.
There's been research done by organisations such as Save the Children, organisations based here in the UK that have validated these
and you
facts.
saw them from Save the Children. So you're telling me on the programme today, Save the Children have said that there are definitely 15 children.
A parapraxis, James Whale, otherwise known as a Freudian slip.
15,000.
15,000.
Who've been killed.
And counting, yeah.
Well, in a war, yeah, it's terribly sad, and I'm really upset about the whole thing. I'm upset about wars. I'm upset about nastiness, as you probably heard. I'm terminally ill. I have maybe 6 months left to live or something like that. Don't feel sorry for me, because I don't.
Despite his ridiculous and harmful stance, we do not wish any bad upon Mr. Whale, neither his condition, just as we would equally hope that he would not justify any harm upon innocent women and children.
But the fact is that there is so much nastiness going on, running around the streets of London demanding to stop everybody doing what they're doing and so on. But you're not talking about the Yemen and the tragedies that are going on there. Blocks of flats in Ukraine and some in Russia that are being destroyed as we speak. But it's only this one. So my question to you is, are you totally anti-Semitic? Are you totally anti-Israel? You want the state of Israel, which is what Hamas want, completely eradicated?
What starts off as a legitimate question then surmises into absurdity, akin to being as ridiculous as 1 + 1 = 11, because there are two ones. People choose their causes, not in any small part due to the MSM and journalists like himself who cherry-pick the conflicts they choose to highlight. Yet, no doubt there are ardent protesters against the conflicts in Ukraine and Yemen. The startlingly obvious difference here, and with the Gaza conflict, is the overwhelming and now one-sided wholesale slaughter of civilians, including mere children.
Calling us anti-Semitic is a completely baseless claim.
But I'm asking you the question.
Nobody made a point before that you're not doing any other...
We are not anti-Semitic. What we are doing is we see that our government is complicit in genocide. Our government, let me finish. Our government, by allowing the sale of arms to Israel, is enabling this genocide, is enabling children to be murdered.
15,000 of 2 million genocide.
If you're arming one side to the teeth, exercising administrative vetoes in their favour, then, my friend, you are surely complicit. As for the extremely stupid question of 15,000 out of 2 million, even genocides have to unfortunately start somewhere.
15,000 children.
Math, isn't it?
15,000 children.
But you know what genocide
civilians
means?
Targeted is not a war. That's a genocide.
Can we just clear this up? What, in your view, is genocide?
The systematic eradication of a people, and that is what is happening.
We're not going to do that with 15,000, are we?
Yes,
If it had been, it would be finished by now. If the Israeli army had decided they were just going to kill everybody.
No originality, and same mute point as Piers Morgan, Mr. James Whale. The baseless argument that if Israel wanted to genocide Gaza, they'd have already done it. Many would argue they are doing it. If, however, the direct reference is equipotentially to nuking Gaza, then no, they couldn't, certainly notwithstanding a global rippling effect and notoriety comparable to the Nazis.
Like Hamas did on October 7th, that's what's genocide.
They went into that village and killed
when you just kill everyone in sight, that's genocide.
Israel is killing everyone. They're doing it slowly.
No, they're not.
The perverse argument that not agreeing with the slaughter of scores of thousands of women and children somehow makes one an anti-Semitic is so ridiculous a notion that it wouldn't even find a slot in a dystopian fantasy. It would make far more sense if those who support the collective punishment of a peoples owned it as maybe a necessary evil as they would have it, rather than playing that now propagandized go to card.
Absolutely. The fact is that our government is not arming these genocides. Our government is arming Israel.
Saudi Arabia, of course
but our government is arming Israel right now. We are seeing videos of babies with their bombs.
We're selling planes to Saudi Arabia, selling nuts and bolts to Israel.
What we are seeing right now is the Israeli government killing Palestinian civilians, targeting refugee camps, areas they have designated as safe.
But that's not true. Bombing. It's not true.
It is true. You can see it with your own eyes.
It's not true. Unfortunately, collateral damage happens when you're fighting. But these
targeting children is not collateral damage. How dare you refer to children as collateral damage?
Don't you say how dare me.
And so it kicks off.
I am saying something from a sensible, serious point of view, and I am not going to have people like you go on about you're a genocide enabler. You hate,
How dare you say Israel target children?
They do not target children.
So 15,000 plus children just evaporated into space, did they?
How dare you say that?
War targets
why would they do that? That would be so stupid of them, wouldn't it? Why don't you call for Hamas to release the hostages, which would start a ceasefire immediately? Why do you never call for that?
Once this conflict is over, Netanyahu's liberty is at stake, and he may yet become the fall guy after sways of the world reanimate from their bout of amnesia and reconstitute a level of global morality. As for Smotrich and Ben Gvir, they want Palestinians out of Gaza, period.
I can't control what Hamas do. Our government is arming Hamas.
You can't control what Israel do.
I condemn the taking of hostages on any side.
So call for their release. Have a sign with release the hostages.
If Netanyahu cared about the hostages, he would not be indiscriminately carping bombing Gaza.
You think he doesn't care about the hostages?
He has no idea where the hostages are being kept. He has no idea, and he's indiscriminately bombing civilians. Netanyahu has time and time again called his dedication to total victory. He doesn't even mention the hostages.
Of course he cares about the hostages. If he gets them out, he might possibly get voted in again, which is looking very unlikely.
Did this clown just say he may get voted back in again, which is unlikely? If ever there was an occasion to appropriate the words moron and oxymoron separately, but still within the same sentence.
You're helping the fascists. The more that you're helping the Nazis.
All right. So in a way, you could be held responsible for something.
No, you are. You're helping Hamas. You're helping the people stay subjugated.
This isn't about Hamas. This is about innocent...
No, but you're helping them.
This is about innocent civilians in Gaza who are being killed by Israel, and our government is arming them. Our government is allowing this to happen.
And your words are helping Hamas. They're loving what you're saying.
My words are not helping Hamas.
Of course they are. You're back. You want a ceasefire. You want to help them rearm and do another October the 7th.
If ever proof were needed that these pair of muppets couldn't care an iota for Palestinian lives, or else it would be an insult for any human being with their basic mental faculties still intact to not be able to distinguish between support for Hamas and the detestable mowing the lawn doctrine at the behest of predominantly civilians.
So do you not support a ceasefire?
Not unless the hostages are released, then I do.
Hostages on both sides?
There aren't any hostages on both sides.
There are prisoners on the other side.
And you accuse me of not having done my research and not knowing
the history. I haven't, but yeah.
There are prisoners, and some of those prisoners may be considered hostages, I don't know.
Children who were arrested on the streets
who are
at 12 years
17
old.
and stabbed soldiers, are they all right? They
Children arrested for just being on the streets.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, just arrested for being on the street.
These two are actually subhuman and would have no place even in the sewers. If the subject matter was not that of such a devastating nature, you'd half expect this infantile display to be a parody. A grim Punch and Judy show with zero grasp of reality.
Blown off by Israeli bombs and not
is killed, it's not a genocide. It's not a genocide.
I've already said, just a minute, I've already said I find the whole thing appalling and disgusting. I hate war.
And yet you refuse to call it a genocide.
It is not a genocide.
It is a genocide.
And what I'm
just because it's bad doesn't mean it's a genocide.
What I'm trying to get through is the fact that your demonstrations are giving succor to these complete and utter bastards in Hamas who don't care at all. Certainly don't care about women, by the way. Women you keep right away. It's a very misogynistic organisation, religion, whatever you want to call it. But you are giving them succor to carry on doing it. And I know you don't agree. Of course it's about Hamas.
No, I'm sorry, this is not about Hamas. This is about, I don't want innocent civilians in Palestine to die.
How can it not be Hamas when Hamas started
to die.
On October 7th?
Nobody does. Who do you think wants that?
More inane chatter that does no more than simply demonstrate the epitome of wanted and willful ignorance. Quite frankly, stupidity.
Do you think we
Hamas want that?
Our government is enabling the Israeli government to kill children.
It wouldn't matter if we stopped all arms exports with few nuts. It wouldn't change anything in Israel.
Do you think we should be arming Saudi? You mentioned that before. Saudi.
I'm not here to talk about Saudi. I'm here to talk about Israel.
Because you don't like to talk about things that challenge your view.
I don't know enough about Saudi to make a call on that. And
well, maybe you should. Why not? It's your country supplying it.
I'm talking about what I can see right now.
But why don't you look into it? Why are you like an ostrich with your head in the sand?
Let me finish. Our government is enabling a genocide. I don't think it's unreasonable to not want bombs made in the UK to be dropped on Palestinian children. I don't think that's unreasonable.
It's just gibberish that you're saying it's a genocide. Every war is a genocide, according to you, then. Was it? Did we commit genocide in Iraq?
I don't know enough about it.
Well, you don't see any. What about Afghanistan? Did America and Britain, did we commit genocide there? Do you not know anything about that?
I know we committed atrocious war crimes.
But not genocide.
But we didn't commit atrocious war crimes.
You didn't look into that.
I don't know
why do you only look into
We are running out of time. Be quiet.
Palestinian children have been killed while we are having
one last
question. Ignore him.
Farcical gobbledygook. And so the Muppet Show concludes, as without fail, they unleash their own version of Piers Morgan's "Do you condemn Hamas?" question.
One last question.
Finished anyway.
Are you prepared to admit that Hamas are a terrorist organisation?
I'm not here to talk about Hamas. I'm here to talk about Israel killing children and our government arming them and enabling them to
can't you,
happen.
as a person?
I don't need to answer that. It's not outrageous question.
You don't want to answer it.
You do need to answer it.
And you don't want to.
You do need to answer it. You've already said Israeli army are. You, in your view, terrorists or just committing genocide or what?
Committing genocide, killing children.
Oh, for God's sake!
That's not what the definition of genocide. You usually do a bit of research on lots of things.
I know what genocide is. They are systematically. They have blocked Gaza. They are not allowing people to evacuate. They are not allowing sick people to evacuate. They are not allowing
They're taking sick people to Israeli hospitals. They evacuated Shifa Hospital, took the very sick ones to Israeli.
We
don't know what you're on about.
Mass graves were found.
So more flapdoodling from these cheap pound shop moonshiners, repeating banalities that have now become cliches, which moreover simply translates to, we have an unabated oath of affinity to one side, of which in our eyes can do no wrong, including mass slaughter, which sadly is generally predicated by their ilk to base instincts, herd-like mentality programming, or both, unwilling to think outside the parameters of their safety zone, indeed willfully complicit. Thus we conclude that it is certainly of no surprise that the TV station that airs this rubbish is reportedly on the verge of shutting down.